This free Solana NFT tool can make you thousands of dollars. So could making an OnlyFans, but this is probably a little bit more realistic for you guys. And we're gonna be joined by Hello Moon, a website that tracks everything when it comes to Solana NFTs. And if you guys comment and like on this video, I have some whitelist spots to give out for Arcane Valley, a hype new Solana project. Let's get in that video today. Okay, I'm with Walker. He is the CEO and founder of Hello Moon. He's gonna tell me how this free Solana NFT tool can help me become a better trader. So this is the Hello Moon homepage. First thing that strikes me, smart money inflow. That seems like a really good statistic. What exactly is that measuring? What does that mean?
So smart money, basically what we do is we look at every wallet that's ever transacted on chain. We look for wallets that have generated above, say, 50% annualized rate of return trading NFTs. Subject to basically a minimum capital threshold. So it's awesome to go from 1 SOL to 6, but it's a little bit different to go from 500 SOL to 3,000, something to that effect. And so what we're doing is we're looking at what are these large and ultra profitable wallets buying or selling on any given day. So today they're buying Flippin Rabbits, Vandal City, Trippin' Ape Tribe, Gothic Degens. If you're super involved in the Solana community, you'll know some of those are a little controversial, but nonetheless, that's what smart money is buying. If you look over to the right, smart money outflow, it's the opposite. That's what smart money is selling. And so we actually published a study on Twitter a week or two ago, basically looking at, how have these collections done over time? And what we found is that collections that show up in smart money inflow on average have a 15% higher floor price 24 hours later, something like 12% higher at the end of the week. Whereas smart money outflows, I think on average, it was something like 10% lower at the end of the week. So the wallets themselves have done well, and what they're buying seems to be reasonably predictive.
One of the ways that I've been trading for a long time, I haven't been using tools, and that's why I wanted to talk to Hello Moon, which is probably the best Solana NFT tool out there right now, and it's free. I always just gauge Twitter. You're actually tracking that here. So, what does this all mean, the social buying?
Yeah, so there are a few different places to look at social buying. The tab that you're on is basically the, almost like a real-time feed of what people are buying or selling, listing, delisting across the entire market. And so you can just kind of scroll through to get a general sense. If you go to a collection like OK Bears, you'll see a social feed, effectively to the right of the trading view screen. Yeah, so if you click on OK Bears, then you can see, in real time who's buying, selling, listing, delisting OK Bears. You can click on the names of the Twitter handles and see what are they tweeting, what are they saying about OK Bears, you name it. And then actually, if you keep scrolling down just a little bit more, you can even see among the top OK Bears holders, who are they, right? And so you no longer have to wonder, is this the team wallet? I guess for some of them you do, but you can look and you can see 9x9x9, who's huge on ETH, goes by HG Sol on Solana, owns 160 of them. Nate Rivers, big Solana influencer.
Yeah, this is awesome because on ETH, I would have to go on Etherscan and they just have the addresses, and then I have to cross-reference the OpenSea and try to hope that their Twitter account was linked, but you actually have the Twitter accounts here linked up, which is really helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we have hundreds of thousands of Twitter handles connected to wallet addresses, which we think is a big percent of the Solana NFT community.
Watchtrade Index. Does that matter to me, to the buyer? I buy a Solana NFT maybe once a week. What does the Watchtrade Index mean?
So Watchtrade Index, the way we've calibrated is that when you see a score like a 2, a 4, even a 5 or 6, what that means is there's probably not a whole lot for you to worry about. When you get to higher scores in the 20s or something to that effect, what that means is that there's basically that collection's trading volume is basically defined by watch trading. So that's how I think about the index score. But what's kind of interesting and fun is if you scroll down to the absolute bottom of the page, you can see examples for OK Bears watch trading. And so what I'd say is that OK Bears is one of the highest volume projects on Solana. They see massive amounts of volume every day. And so every high volume project is going to have, a super healthy amount of wash trading. Yeah. So if you look at the bottom of the page, basically what you'll see is, these are the actual wash trading transactions. And so, even for a collection like OK Bears, where you may not have the collection itself may not be defined by wash trading. Sometimes you'll have an NFT sell for 1,000 SOL, and you can then go to Hello Moon and look at, was this a wash traded transaction or not? For OK Bears, what's interesting is that you can look at the bottom of the page and see that actually a lot of the largest holders have also been kind of engaging in some wash trading. So, we're bullish on OK Bears. We're bullish on their top holders. I know a lot of them personally, but nonetheless, they seem to have occasionally wash traded OK Bears.
So let's say I'm looking at a project like Gothic Degens, and I really want to sink my teeth into metrics that matter. What are you, in your personal opinion, as somebody who runs Hello Moon, where would you be looking at to say, maybe I should buy this, maybe I should sell it? What are the important metrics for you?
Yeah, I mean, so the first thing that I would do is I would just, scroll down a little bit and just look at the chart. It's obviously been up and to the right. That's positive. I'd look at who's been buying, who's been selling. Has everybody been buying? Has everybody been selling? And just kind of orient myself in that way. But then actually right where you are now is perfect. So the next thing I would do is I would look at this floor price and notable activity for Gothic Degens. And basically what you'll see is that, first of all, there's a huge amount of social activity. So if you hover over any one of those Twitter birds, you can see somebody on Twitter either buying or selling. But what you'll see is that, most of these buys have been pretty well above the floor. And I think the reason for that is that obviously we've got, people like you who buy the floors, but we also have people who really associate with the project who, are really, excited to join the Red Skull Society. And so, they're paying 2x the floor price to get, their favorite Gothic Degen. And we generally think of that as being bullish for a project, almost like a proxy for brand value, if you will. And so, if you think about it, when you buy the floor, it's because Frank tweeted about it, you think it'll go up. And so you're kind of taking a beta position. But if you're out there, sniping rares, it's probably because you associate with the project in a big way, or at least you have, you're bullish, you're super bullish on the project's future in effect. So that's another thing I look at closely. Also look at, so if you stop there, ownership overlap, looking at Gothic Degens, I think it's really important to understand the makeup of the community. And so what this ownership overlap dashboard is showing is basically people who own Gothic Degens also own these other collections. And so the first thing you see is Soul Goths, Gothic, Goofy Gorillas. I don't know the story behind either of those. They may be directly associated. I know that Gothic Degen's been doing a lot of airdrops. It could just be, somebody else could have airdropped it to the holders. But then underneath that, you see Primates, you see Ghost Kid DAO, you see Liberty Square, you see Magic Ticket, you see Art of Mob. And so you see a bunch of projects that have kind of minted recently, but are, still kind of strong bluish.
But when I'm looking at the ownership overlap, you see, Primates is doing well, but some of these other projects are a little bit more of the fleeting type. Would I pause at this and say, man, I might want to, and Gothic Degens aside, it's a great project, but if I'm looking at ownership overlap, do I want to see OK Bears? Do I want to see some of these diamond-handed blue chip communities? Is that a bullish signal?
I think you do. I think you want to see OK Bears. You want to see Solana Monkey Business. You want to see Primates. You want to see D-Gods. You want to see the blue chip collections, definitely. Or what can also be interesting is, there will be paradigm shifts in Solana, and you at least want to see people who are kind of, they're not big into Solana Monkey Business because they don't have $20,000 to spend on an NFT, but they're still they're in the meta, if you will. I actually saw something really interesting in Discord the other day where basically somebody was like, I was going to go along this project, but I looked at the ownership overlap, and what I saw is that it was owned by the people who own this are the people who own the last 5 big rugs that minted, and the people behind the project are not doxxed, and they seem a little shady, and there's some things I'm excited about, but they seem to be affiliated with these other projects, and so they passed on it. I think that ended up being a good call, and so that's definitely something that I look at a lot, I would say.
Another really cool metric here that I haven't seen a lot of, obviously you can see unique active wallets on something like SoulScan or even on Magic Eden, you can just see like the unique ownership ratio, but hold duration here, it's a really cool statistic, so you can see how diamond-handed the community actually is. So even though Gothic Degens is still relatively new, a large amount of people have been holding it for the 4 to 8 weeks. I mean, is this something you'd also look at here?
Yeah, definitely. And it's, you have to keep in mind, to your point, you have to keep in mind the age of the project. And so, but you definitely want to get a sense for, are people just flipping this? Or is there an actual core base of holders, a core community that's really anchoring the project and driving things forward? I think with Gothic Degen, it looks like the answer is yes, but it also looks like there's been a good amount of near-term transactions. But having said that, I think Gothic Degen's doubled in the last week or so. So it makes sense that you'd have, some turnover in wallets. If you click the DeFi tab, we actually have smart money inflows and outflows for DeFi as well. And so this is the same thing as NFTs, but instead of looking for wallets that have been super profitable trading Solana NFTs, instead we're looking for wallets that have been super profitable trading tokens. And what we can see is that, interesting. So an hour ago, Solana, the Sol token was right at the top of smart money inflow, but I guess that, lapped itself out. But, it looks like today people are buying AVAX, Binance, USDR on the inflow side. On the outflow side, looks like they're selling MSOL and StakeSol and BTC, ETH and Radium. And so I think that's super interesting. I mean, like as cool as Solana NFTs are, there's a lot of volume, a lot of super smart money in DeFi. And so kind of filtering out nothing but smart money, I think is super interesting. I'd also call out trade and portfolio. So trade is a function we just added. So this is basically a trading portal where you can buy or sell any token on Solana. So that includes things like ETH, Bitcoin. Actually, funny stat, a decent percent of Bitcoin and ETH, change hands on Solana on any given day. But you can buy or sell anything you want here, and it should be best execution, so best price possible, and we don't charge any fees, so it's free. But basically, what we heard from our users is, look, we've got all this dust, we have all this crack, we have all this forage. Like how do we buy more? How do we sell it? And so you can do that here.
Let's click on Flippin Rabbits and let's just break down the metrics and let's see if this is something maybe I should buy. Again, not financial advice. Trading crypto is extremely volatile and risky, as we all know. But we're gonna take a look at this and see if it's something worth me buying right now. And who better to do it with than my guy Walker from Hello Moon. So looking at a 1.73 floor price, we got 339 listed out of the 3,033 supply. That's solid, right? Listed amount. That's, it's not a ton listed. That's not.
I think also interesting. So I think Flippin Rabbits minted recently, I believe. And so it's up 50% from mint, which is good. But, it's, some projects 10x post mint, some projects go down, they're up 50%. It's kind of interesting.
Floor price, notable activity. So there are some above floor buys recently, right? So this means that today there's been above floor buys. Am I reading this correctly?
Roughly, yeah. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. There may be something where it's such a short time frame that I think that those are daily floor prices, and so the floor price itself may have tracked closer to where the prices are for Flippin Rabbits specifically. But yeah, generally at a high level, that's how I think about it. Oh, actually, this is very interesting. So I'm not familiar with Flippin Rabbits, but we seem to have a good number of their wallets tagged. So I actually don't know any of these people. Apologies if I do.
This seems like somebody who is, maybe a whale, but doesn't have a ton of influence. This certainly isn't Nate Rivers with 70,000 followers who is, going to change his profile picture. And so you could go through each of the, again, having the Twitter accounts is so key. You can kind of go through here. Followers doesn't equate to influence, but certainly it helps. So that's one thing to watch out for.
Click the wallet button, the wallet text right above Magic Eden. Yeah, there you go. So you can see those are all the Twitter labels we have that own it. You can also sort, if you click the total NFT value column, you can sort from high, if you click it one more time. So what that shows is the value of the NFTs in the wallets of the holders. So for example, Blizz Phoenix only owns one Flippin Rabbit, but he has the third largest, NFT portfolio out of all of the holders. It looks like that's about 881 SOL. That's a big portfolio, but it's not that big. So if you look at, most of the other top projects, you'll see, people with 3, 4, 5,000 SOL, owning a good chunk of them. And so it looks like Flippin, the wallets that own Flippin Rabbits are not as stacked as, the wallets that own many other projects. So, that can be a mixed signal, I'd say.
That's really cool to see the wallet balance there.
Really interesting dynamic. So, Utter Chaos, Netrunner, Ghostface Gen 2, Liberty Square, those all minted in the last, I think, month and a half, most of them in the last week or two. And so basically what we're seeing is that the people who own Flippin Rabbits, in addition to having kind of smaller size wallets, also generally what they own are, the mints from the last 2-3 weeks.
This is probably a flippers community, a flippers type play, which means things are going to move quickly, things fluctuate. Either get in or don't. It's going to move fast probably.
Yeah. If you look at unique active wallets, they're relative to sales volume, and you can scroll up a little bit, it looks like, and that just may be related to mint, but it looks like there's not been a 1-for-1 where you're not necessarily seeing more volume because of more wallets. It looks like you're seeing more volume because, some wallets are doing more volume, which is kind of interesting. That could be a function of having just minted though.
What is wash trading?
Yeah, so wash trading in the traditional sense is when you fabricate a transaction to have an effect, right? And so with traditional stocks, let's say you own Microsoft at $100 a share, the price crashes to $50 a share, so you sell at $50, and then the next day you buy it back for $50, and then you claim a $50 write-off on your taxes, right? And so the government would say that was a fabricated transaction. You did this transaction to generate a tax loss, and then you bought back at the, immediately afterwards. That's illegitimate. Another way to think about wash trading with respect to NFTs is, and so basically like what you can see here is, wallet 97QG sent $1 or sent 1.33 SOL to wallet Dr. MD, I guess. And then, a week and a half later, Dr. MD bought an NFT from 97QG on a marketplace, the odds of which of that happening are effectively zero, right? So basically 97QG gave DRMD 1.33 SOL for free. And then a little bit later, that same wallet bought an NFT from the wallet that gave it the money on a marketplace, right? And so the assumption is that a single person is capitalizing both wallets and is buying and selling to themselves.
Very interesting to see the wash trading go down kind of in real time. A lot of great metrics here on Hello Moon. I think this is one-stop shop for people who are NFT degens, who are into DeFi, tracking Solana. Thanks again to my guy Walker for hopping on with me today.
Of course, great being here.
And that's the video for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click that subscribe button. There's 3 things in life that make me happy: NFTs, the hub, and YouTube subscribers. As always, guys, make sure to say, gang, gang!